And
Right.
I mean, or if you're playing Ghost.
Hmm.
Now some people might go like, okay, so I'm playing a serial killer, a drug dealing serial killer, womanizer, cheats on his wife, not the best father, kills his
Right.
friends. You know, you could do that, or you could just be like, hey, this is a man doing what he has to do to survive. You know what I mean? And that's the way you have to approach it.
And a lot of the fans did approach it in that manner. That's how they view the individual characters. And you guys built such, I mean, it's cult like the way the following has been for this show. And that's something I want to transition you to now. I've got a clip from the original Power, and you were in it. I'm going to take a look at that, and then I'm going to ask you one or two questions about how you felt about the scene and just what it was like to be acting around these other two actors. Take a quick look.
I did that shit. Killed Angela, and you ain't never gonna get me for it. So adios, motherfucker.
You saw him kill her, didn't you? You can put him away. All you have to do is testify. Don't you want him to fucking pay for what he did?
Yeah, that's his shit.
Fuck. No. What the fuck? No, please. You should have stayed away from my son, man.
Drake left the pen out there for Tommy. Tommy killed Proctor in your apartment because he was going to snitch on him, not you.
Sachs ain't law enforcement anymore, but with Proctor and Angela dead, he's the last person we got on the inside. We own him now. He deserves a bullet.
Wow. So, wow. Talk to me about how did you put your mindset to be in that kind of chaotic environment, and what was the experience like working with those two wonderful actors, Amari and Joseph?
Yeah, well, you know, they're both good friends, and I relished the opportunity to get to work with them both like that, because that was, I think, one of the only scene where I got to work with both of them at the same time like that.
Right.
Obviously, when I first read that scene, I was a little bit like, wait, I'm dying? I didn't know I was dying. Like, nobody told me.
That's what we thought. I wasn't ready for you to go yet. Like, you got on my nerves. You played the hell out your role. But I wanted you to continue antagonizing them. As you said, you're great antagonists. And I wanted you to continue doing that. So I honestly was happy that you didn't die in that moment.
Well, thank you. I am too, man. But working with them both was just great. They just, you know, I felt like it was such a wild scene, and I was in such a state that scene required like just a high level of energy output from start to finish. Because if you remember, that scene starts really like I'm looking at like porn on my computer, and and then they bust in and my pants are down and I'm like, oh man. And Bart Weinrich directed that. He's also one of our producers, and you know, I thought we just did a great job with the scene, and physically it was tasking, you know, having the bag over my head, and you know, I mean, obviously it's a stunt, so it's not like I was hurt or in any danger, but it's still physically tasking to, like, you know, be breathing into that bag and then they be slammed onto the ground and over and over and over again. We shot it for probably, like, I don't know, it seemed like it was 5 or 6 hours, you know? So it was fun. It was fun. And it was cool too, because a lot of that scene, I just got to sit there and watch Joe and Omari act while I was, you know, hanging out in a chair, trying not to die.
Well, hey man, well you knocked that one out the park. And ladies and gentlemen, he talked about some of the physical toll it took on his body. Now would be a good time to say Cooper Sachs is in great shape. Shane Johnson is in great shape. Like, you still might can go out there and knock a home run over Wrigley Field. We paid attention to that. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're following this will be on the podcast as soon as I'm done, about 30 minutes after this. You can go and download the link. It's in the video description. And next Wednesday, someone Shane is very familiar with is coming to check us out. We've got Patton Ashbrook, who plays Jenny. She's coming next week at 7 p.m. So you guys come there for that. And all the links to Shane's IG, his Twitter, everything you want to know about Shane is in the video description. Check this man out. Follow this man as he's going through. So you knocked it out the park with that Power. And You got to keep going on, and now you're living to see Ghost's son, who is the new Ghost. And like I said, you're one of the longest running members that has been on this whole Power cast the whole entire time. So talk to me a little bit about what your relationship is like with 50 Cent and Courtney Kemp. And the fans obviously love your character because you keep figuring out a way. Cooper Saxe is resilient, if nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Courtney's one of my, closest friends. I love Courtney, and she obviously is, meant so much to me on a personal level, but also just, I have to acknowledge the fact that she's put me on the map, like you said, I may have done 60 other things, but in reality, it's this Power universe that has made me shine brightest. So I owe that to her and 50 for sure. And listen, 50's the thing that's cool about 50, being around 50, is he's just really inspirational. It's kind of like what I imagine hanging around The Rock would be like. You just got a guy that's right. Just a positive. And I know he talks a lot of shit online and stuff. That's just his brand. And he's making noise, and the noise just elevates what he's doing in his brands and all that stuff. But ultimately he's creative. He's an entrepreneur, and he always has his finger on the pulse. And it's really inspiring to be around, and also inspiring to get you up off your ass. Cause sometimes I'm just like, I'll find myself, it'll be noon and I'm going like, oh, I should probably put some clothes on. And I'm like, 50's probably already got like 3 brands on the line,
Right.
And I want what he's having for breakfast. So he's cool, man. He's cool. Honestly, like a lot of people may think he would be intimidating, or he would be, mean or whatever. And he's not like that at all. He's chill. We're like the same age, he's a contemporary, and, he's not around as much now, obviously. But it was fun to have him direct, fun to have him around. But we used to have table reads, in person, and that was a lot of fun because we always got to hang out and stuff. But now everything's virtual. So we're a little bit more disconnected than we used to be.
I find him to be a good businessman. He has a great story. One point in time, he filed for bankruptcy, and he's made a comeback all the way back. And he is, when you say a brand ambassador and a businessman, that is 50 Cent all day. So much respect. And thank you for sharing those personal stories about him and Courtney. Shout out to both of them if you're watching. I'm here for an interview with you guys too one of these days. Now let's talk.
Courtney's got that incredible, well-deserved deal over at Netflix now.
Right.
Like, just unbelievable. I'm so happy for her. It's like
I'm happy for her too, man. I want to pick her brain apart about that too, because you talk about writing. That's her thing. That is her thing, and I just can't wait to see what more she's going to do, and I can't wait to see what you're going to be doing with her as well. You bring a whole lot of tools in your Batman tool belt that could certainly be of use with her, and I can't wait to see what you guys do as a unit.
Yeah, I would love that. Believe me. One of my future goals is to work with her in the future. Hopefully over at Netflix or something. Do something like that would be incredible.
Gotcha. Now I'm gonna take us to this season of Power, Book 2. You've made it to season 2. Let's recap a scene and let me get what your thoughts were as you was performing this art for us. Take a look at this.
You had me followed?
You left me no choice. I figured out what you're doing. You're gonna get Epiphany Turner to name Tariq as part of the drug organization. It clears Tasha. That's why you and Davis are making out under the bleachers these days.
I want to get at the truth, Steven. You mock. You don't want the truth. But I do. I took an oath.
Fuck your oath. You gotta get Davis McLean, too.
He's not breaking any rules. He's defending his client.
First rule of American politics, it's not the truth, it's how the truth looks.
At that point in time, Tasha was in jail. Stephen Ottman from the DNC was like, look, I need you to do this. Talk to me about the mindset in that scene, what you were portraying, and what it was like to work with that other actor.
Well, Mark Feuerstein, who plays Stephen Ott, he's just like, he's a great friend too. And he's he's just a phenomenal actor.
Mhm.
He every time I get to be I've worked with him quite a few times on the show, and he's always brings so much. He's so fun to play off of. There's been some great actors that I've gotten to play with. Obviously Method Man as well has been so much fun to work with.
Right.
But that scene I really liked, because it kind of to me was one of the few scenes where you really kind of see what's making Cooper, what's making his wheels turn, which is that he does want justice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first maybe 4.5 seasons of Power, the original, everything was by the book. Now, granted, I was a jerk and I was like on the hunt and I was trying to, get promotions and tear down Angela and all that stuff. But when it came to the legal stuff, everything was by the book.
Right.
And then I had so many L's, I think, along the way, that I think I just got sick of it. Cooper Sachs got sick of it. And he was like, you know what? I need to kind of maybe plant a little evidence, maybe fudge the truth just a little bit. And that's a slippery slope, because then you start going like, and then ultimately it got to the point where this law-abiding lawyer who just wants justice, it goes to a whole different brand of justice by picking up a gun at the end of season 6 and marching toward the club to get street justice myself,
Mm-hmm.
And so then I have this weird relationship with Tariq, because in a way, Tariq saved me, because he got there first.
Yep.
And we haven't really talked about that on the show at all. But I think it's one of the things that kind of keeps Cooper Sachs from really going after Tariq hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he knows he killed his father.
Right.
But he also knows, like, look, I was about to do that too. And on top of that, he's like, James St. Patrick was a monster, according as far as he's concerned. And so taking him off the playing field is justice of sorts. You know what I mean?
Right. We was able to see that. Like I said, everything that you've done, you've been able to portray pretty much what you needed to us to understand. And we saw that cat and mouse between you and Tariq, even in this last season, still going on with a little bit of cat and mouse. But I think we did see a reckoning in Cooper Sachs. Take a look at this as we start to get to the turn of Cooper Sachs as we're getting down the line.
How was your day?
He asks from the dark side.
Oh, come on. Everyone has the right to a criminal defense. It's in the Constitution. I am a patriot.
You sold your soul to the devil, Saxe.
It's a lease, and he said he's going to give it back.
After she left the prosecutor's office, she landed a teaching gig at Stansfield, where she helped bring on none other than
Reynolds. Wow. Spicy. But she's not a murderer.
It's not what I'm hearing.
Who's on it?
Kevin Whitman. And there was another familiar name on his list of Reynolds advisees. Tariq St. Patrick.
Oh, wow. Talk to us about that, Mr. Shane. Let us know what was going on. What were we supposed to see during that scene?
Well, I think. Oops, sorry, dropped the remote.
No problem.
I think one of the things that's tricky with and so much fun to play with that relationship with Peyton, who plays Jenny Sullivan, is that Cooper especially really has feelings for her. And I don't know that they're totally reciprocated. That's for her to decide. But the way it comes across to me is that this guy's kind of going like, man, I would really like to kind of have a relationship here. And he's just kind of like, hey, you remember the arrangement, right? We're just co-workers with benefits, and then leave me alone. But I think I soften her up, and we kind of have these conversations like we just had. And what happens in there is we're manipulating each other and getting a little bit of information about each other that's going to play out and be utilized later. She's getting a little bit of information from me. I'm getting a little bit of information from her. And it seems like it's just, pillow talks, no big deal, bedroom talk. But in reality, it's ammunition that we're kind of getting from each other. And the danger is, that she and I are now at this point on opposite sides of the aisle. We used to both be prosecutors and basically on the same team. And now we're opposing counsel, essentially. She's trying to take down Tariq and I'm defending Tariq. It's crazy.
Man. Yeah.
And I'm in a circle now. If I find myself in a position where I've been trying to take this family down and now I'm protecting them,
Now, this is going to be the final recap scene I want you to discuss, because I'm very fearful after what you say in this scene. It's got me thinking about what's going to happen in the new season 3 that's going to be coming real soon. So take a look at this one.
Doing it for you.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. A sign that an actor is doing a great job when it comes with me is if I give you a nickname. If I don't give you a nickname, you're not doing a good job. You had a nickname with me that was punk ass Cooper Sachs. That means you was creating so much emotion in me. I was mad. But now I like Cooper Sachs. And in that scene you just had with Patton, I've got to say, one of you two are going to die. And I'm worried that you're changing your life because it seems like you want to clean things up. But more importantly, it seems like this woman has put the spell on you and she's the driving force for you doing right. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think that at his core, Cooper Sachs does want justice, right? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't quite sit right with him that he's defending. And by the way, a lot of lawyers have to do this, so it's a real thing. Like a lot of lawyers are going, well, I'm defending my client. I'm defending whoever, OJ or you know what I mean? It's like you know that. But you're doing your job and you're going, hey, I got to give him a good, run here. And so I think that doesn't totally sit well with Cooper. Mm-hmm. And I feel like also he has that bone, that like a dog with a bone when it comes to the James St. Patrick sort of legacy aspect of it. Right. And I think he wants that W. But then at the same time, like with Peyton there, I think that his heart kind of being wrapped up with her a little bit. Mm-hmm. He wants to see her win too. Right. Because he's seen her get crushed in court, embarrassed in court, like multiple times in season 2. So I think he's kind of at the point now where he's like he's just feeling for her. And listen, the smartest thing for Cooper Sachs to right now would be to go, hey, you know what? It's not working out, and go get on like Tinder and just go get some action on the side. But you know what I mean?
Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. Jenny is a good girl. And she's another one that got a nickname from me because when Jenny went after Yaz, that was some intense acting. I was so hot with Jenny. I have a young daughter now. I waited till my 40s to have my first child. So I'm sitting up there. I'm looking at that could be my daughter. And Jenny was attacking her. And she took these L's kind of in retribution to some of the things she did to Yaz. And to see her in pain, I get it. But some would even say that Cooper Sachs done put that cape on now, Shane. He's put the cape on. He's trying to save this young lady from what could have been a meltdown. Any of that going on here?
Yeah. I mean, I think that he, you're saying, is he like Captain Save-A-Ho here or something? But, that's extreme. That's extreme. I don't think it's that. I think it's more like listen, I think that he has two things going. He has his heart involved with Jenny Sullivan. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side, he really does want justice. Okay. He knows some of the stuff that Tariq has done. He knows that the Tejadas are involved in some of this stuff. He knows what the St. Patrick family did. It's funny though, in the finale, I thought I thought that people would come around. It's fine because I never know how the audience is going to respond. I thought that people were going to be like, "Oh, Cooper Sachs, you did a solid. You did a solid," because I helped out Tariq and I reunited Yaz with Tamika Washington, played by Quincy Tyler Bernstein, who's amazing.
Yeah.
And we kind of bring Yaz back and reunite her with Tasha, and sort of tie up that problem for Tariq so that he doesn't have to stress about it anymore. And I thought people were gonna be like, "Oh, Cooper Sachs, you did a solid." But once I had that pillow talk scene with Jenny Sullivan, people were like, they were like, "No."
Well, here's the thing, Cooper. I think people have forgotten. Cooper Sachs over these years has had to endure a lot of shit. I mean, a lot. We talk about people getting the ride off and have a happy ending. Why can't Cooper Sachs have the same thing? There have been people on this show who have done way worse things than Cooper Sachs has done. And I think at some point in time, Cooper Sachs wants to go back to who he really is. He's done some things that was outside the ethical bounds. But at this point, I think Cooper Sachs is just like, you know what? I need to get my life together. This seems to be a great woman. And who knows where they could go with that? Maybe Cooper quit Davis McClain, go back and work on the same side as Jenny. Maybe he'll get out of law altogether. But if I had to slam down my prediction, I hate to say this, but I think one of those two characters is going to kick the bucket next season. It's just a matter of which one.
Yeah, it is funny how because I'm a big fan of these types of shows.
Right.
Like Dexter was one of my favorite shows.
Great show.
And if you really break it down, you're rooting for this serial killer. I mean, granted, you might go, well, yeah, but he's justified. But he's like, every week he was killing somebody.
Right.
And you kind of just you're just like, yes, he got him, and it's violent, and but and it's funny. I get so many communications like this, but I thought this one summed it up pretty well. Someone said a comment that I thought was hysterical. He says, "Shane Johnson, here you go yet a damn again. You were after Tariq, you were after Ghost, Tariq, and now Tariq again. Will you please let Michael Rainey Jr. sell drugs and kill people in peace?" By the way, that woman is no good for you. So I thought, would you just let him kill people and sell drugs in peace? I thought, and that kind of sums up the show. People are like, if you really break it down, Cooper Sachs is trying to get justice and take the bad guys down. But when you love the bad guys, and that's that's why they're like dark hero shows,
Right.
And they're my favorites, so I get it. Like watching The Sopranos,
Not only that, but when I was young, I used to watch wrestling, and this liking the bad guy started with Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's where it started at, and it's careened in the TV.